Because you're doing something, get back up.
Hi, Erica.
Hello.
Welcome. Glad to see you here. We're going to give one more minute and then we're going to get started. Want to respect everybody's time. So we are recording this session and it'll be available after, so you don't really have to worry about taking notes or anything. We would just ask you to use the time that we have together to make sure that if you have any questions that you stop us. We want to, we've got a couple of slides to share with you just to make it easier for you to track with us around the information that we're sharing. But we really want this to be your opportunity to ask questions so that you understand kind of what the journey ahead will look like. So we are now 5 after. We'll go ahead and get started. So my name is Dr. Marie Alcazar. I am the founder of Built for Agility. I am also the Agile coach that will be leading the online training activities that we'll be working on as we go through our course content. And today we wanted to really just take a few minutes to kind of share with you our plan and how we intend to kind of run this class and even help you kind of understand how we got to where we are. So you have signed up for either the SAFE Product Owner, Product Manager, or SAFE Scrum Master course. Today, we're going to talk about really just your responsibility around completing the coursework. We're going to talk about how we're going to form you into Agile teams. And then we have one last item that we're going to share with you around the I Am Built for Agility challenge that will be part of this coursework that you will complete. So the first thing is most of you should already have started working on the course content. As you know, it's all self-paced. And so just to kind of understand what our approach is. And so we've done these certification tracks many, many times. And specifically in the community, what we've learned is that oftentimes people who are not in an environment where Agile is actually being used sometimes struggle to be able to go from theory to execution. And so based on the learnings from those previous cohorts, we are piloting a new approach. And the new approach is around a flipped classroom. Now, if you're not familiar with the flipped classroom, what that means is exactly what you've already started doing, going through, completing your coursework on your own. And then starting September 7th, we will have instructor-led hands-on workshops. So what that means is take what you learned through your coursework and put it into action, okay? So for that reason, you need to come into each workshop each Saturday already having completed the course, the lesson that we will be covering during the interactive workshop. Does that make sense? Okay. This is really, really important because it also is not just because we know it's important to make the content sticky so that it makes sense from a practical perspective, but it also contributes to you beginning to get experience in working in an Agile way. Okay. Now, this is as much a practical decision as it is a strategic decision, because our goal is, as we work with you through our program, we want you to begin to get some experiential knowledge, because what do employers pay for? Experience, right? While we're offering the certification track to you, lots of other people go through certifications as well, okay? But being able to complete the training and do the certification does not necessarily equate to you being able to execute. So our goal is making sure that we're doing everything that we can to set you up for success where you can actually apply it either in the work that you're already doing or open up opportunities for you to potentially move into a different opportunity, whether it be in your current industry, or practice area, or whether it be that you would like to do a career pivot and move into a different area, right? And so once the coursework is done and we've completed all of the training, then there will be other opportunities, and we will talk with you about those opportunities around pursuing the certification, because I want you to remember that the certification is optional. We're throwing the widest net and we're saying everybody should get this training because we think that it's really critical to the future of work, that you understand some of the changes that are happening in the workplace and the way that you'll need to be able to adjust and pivot to be successful in the future. But beyond that, we also believe that it's important that we create opportunities for there to be an economic impact, right? So just based on who's on the call, has anybody taken time to do any of their own background research around Agile, Scrum Master, or product owner, product manager roles? Anybody taking a look at it for themselves, like on LinkedIn, or just kind of Googling it to see what people in those roles actually do and, the opportunity? Okay, Dorian, I see your hand raised. Can you share with us what you found when you did that?
Yeah, it was a little bit ago. It was before our first sort of info session, so I don't really remember everything super concisely, but my understanding is just how you, sorry, that's my direction, how you navigate like change in the workplace. It's a different perspective on how to do that. So instead of sort of like having a plan, seeing it through, and then finishing it out to completion, and then on the back end realizing, oh, we probably should have done A, B, or C a little bit differently to get to our end result faster or more effectively. You're sort of looking for those opportunities in the process of executing your project. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So all of those things that Dorian shared, and I'll underscore that by saying Agile takes an iterative approach to problem solving, right? So it is a framework, it is a project management framework that is designed to help you understand not just how to take issues, problems, and break them down into small manageable pieces, but it also speaks to how we work together to resolve those problems. So everything that we do is centered on teaming. It's centered on how we work together, not just what we do, right? So it becomes just as important to do things right as it is to do the right things. And so it helps you address issues on both fronts, okay? So if you haven't already, go ahead, Nathan. I see you have your hand raised. Dorian, were you done? I see your hand is still up before I move on to Nathan.
Yes, sorry, I'll take it down.
Okay, go ahead, Nathan. You're on mute.
Sorry for that. So
Okay.
basically, my understanding of Agile project management is essentially, as you've said, essentially an iterative and flexible approach to managing projects rather, that emphasizes on collaboration. There is also feedback from the end user, and also small and rapid releases, and it differs from traditional management methodologies that follow a linear or sequential process by delivering work in small, manageable increments that allow teams to respond quickly to changes in evolving requirements.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So everything, and thank you for sharing that, Nathan. So everything that we do with this program, including the delivery of the training content, is being delivered in an agile way. So traditionally, when we facilitate these classes, it's 2 to 3 days of full days in a classroom environment. And we just take all of this content that we've loaded into our LMS, and in 2 to 3 days, a coach like me is going to deliver all of that content. So it's like drinking from a fire hose, okay? What we've done is, through our experience, we don't believe that that approach sets people up for success, okay? And so, because it's like information overload, so we've decided that our training is going to be deployed in an agile way, which is the reason why you're able to go in at your own pace, complete each lesson. You can, do as much as you have time to do. You can stop. Hopefully everybody by now knows that we released our mobile app, which means you can actually access the course content on your mobile phone or a tablet, right, on a mobile device. So you're able to do that and still have the same quality experience that you would if you were on a computer or a laptop, okay? And it'll remember where you stopped off and allow you to just continue from where you were. So that's really nice about it. But it just allows you to kind of do this learning at your convenience, when you want, how you want to do it, so that it can minimize the potential barriers to you being able to complete it successfully, right? So I hope you find the mobile app helpful with that. The other thing that you will see is within the LMS is that you will see the community of practice. The community of practice is really important because this is an opportunity for you to interact with your peers who are also part of the program, where you guys can learn from each other. One of the things that you'll learn through this process is that Agile teams are relatively flat. And what that means is that all of us in some way or shape at some point in the process may be the leader, right? Like we may be the one that has the greatest depth and breadth of knowledge and understanding about a particular issue or a topic. And when that happens, that we all just in a very natural way, we can instinctively move between the role of leader and follower, right? So on Agile teams, you don't really have a team lead, as we call it, right? Or a team manager who is telling the team what to do. You have a team of diversified resources who can all contribute in a different way and that come together to make the best decision that they can using Agile best practices, okay? So that's kind of what you can look forward to in a team. Based on everybody who we confirm into the cohort, we will form, our goal is to form an Agile release train. Depending on how far you've gotten into your training, you may have learned a little bit about Agile release trains and realized that an Agile release train is nothing but a team of teams. So we will break everybody down into small teams, and then all of the teams collectively form an Agile release train. Okay, so without getting too deep into the training itself, you'll start to see how all of these pieces fit together. And then when we're doing the hands-on workshops, my goal is going to be to take that content, take that learning, and help you apply it in a practical way to the work that you do. So even though in a traditional environment, I'm often working with software engineers, when I'm doing a cohort like this, what I want to do is I want to hear from you. I want to learn about the work you do, and I want to help you be able to see yourself working in an Agile way, because now you can assimilate this knowledge. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So I'm going to move on from here unless you guys have any questions. Okay. Oh, I think I went too far. How did I get all the way there? Okay. So team assignments. I talked already a little bit about teams. One of the things that will happen once you are assigned to a team, and we know we've got a lot of people missing from this call. The one thing is, though, is don't be alarmed, because people who came to our info session that we did in the metaverse, we didn't really make it a requirement for them to come and attend this one. We did want them to come to learn about the changes, that some of the changes that we made, but we did not make it mandatory. So we'll be sharing those insights with them as well. And the main thing is we wanted to make sure that we created space for you guys to ask any questions you had. Okay. The one key thing that I will mention that I hadn't talked about already is the role rotation. So when we're doing the instructor-led workshops, it'll be kind of role playing where we're going to actually have you operating as either a product owner, product manager, or a scrum master. But because we have many people who are also signed up for those same courses, each week we will rotate. So a different person will serve as the product owner, product manager for the team, and a different person will serve as the scrum master, so that everybody has an opportunity to experience actually operating in that capacity. Make sense? Okay. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is the I Am Built for Agility challenge. And actually what I'll do is I'll hand this off. I'll ask Donna if she will cover this content for us. And Donna, you can introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you, Marie. I am Donna Shaw, and I serve as the Director of Strategic Program Management. And so I want to tell you about this challenge. And so we are offering a $1,000 prize. And how you get that prize is we will have a leaderboard, and you will get points for different things along the way, along your journey in this course. And so completing your coursework, participating in all of the workshops that we have scheduled, leading where you get the knowledge, the application, as Dr. Marie said, in executing and practicing what you're learning. We also have a few events scheduled, and so you would get points for attending those events. Networking. So we want you to invite your friends to the events and to talk about your experience, what you're learning, and all along your journey on social media. So when you do posts, you get points for doing those posts. Sharing online and tagging us with I Am Built for Agility. So when you do that and you tag us, we'll be able to see that you're posting. There are also some other activities that we will throw at you along the way that are potential point earners. And so if you can't do some things and you're really good at doing other things, you're generating points based on your activity. And so we'll talk more about this during the course, but we'll be tracking with a leaderboard, and we're going to put that leaderboard in that community of practice, that COP. So at any time, any point, you can go in there and see where you stand in the leaderboard on your way to winning $1,000. Who's happy about winning the potential to win $1,000?
Okay.
Okay.
There's another option. If you win it, you can donate it back. Right, Nathan?
So look forward to learning more about that and starting to earn your points. You get points for being here today.
Yeah, you get points. So we're starting to calculate points immediately, and we know some folk can be really competitive. So we think that we think it's going to get a little bit heated, but the reality is almost like getting paid for you to do something that benefits you, right? Mm-hmm. So you're basically just going through, actively engaged in the course, attending some of the activities, and in the events that we invite you guys to are going to be opportunities for you to continue the learning and so into this process. So it's not involving you in something that's completely unrelated, right? So all of that is part of the learning process. And what we're trying to do is really drive engagement, because we want you to get the absolute most out of this program that you can, so that when you complete your training, you can come out of it with a high degree of confidence of where you want to go with it, right? And then even post-training, you will continue, if you choose to pursue it, to have access to us for training, coaching, mentoring, right? So if you have an opportunity and you need some support around how to navigate an interview, or how to be able to apply it to a particular problem that you may be dealing with, then you can reach out to us and leverage us as a resource. I also want you to be aware of that while you're doing your training, if you are in the middle of one of your lessons and you have a question about something, that discussion feature works right there. All you have to do is hit that little discussion tab, and you'll be able to send a message directly to one of the coaches who will respond to you and answer any questions you have. And it does that, and it actually tells us what part of the lesson you're working on. But the last thing I'll add is that when it does that, that's not a blast to everybody. That's only coming to me and Donna and the other Agile coaches who are actually going to be managing your online experience, right? So don't hesitate to use it. I know some people kind of be a little bit reserved, like, I don't want to put a message and everybody sees me on blast. It's not on blast. It's only going to come to a select few, to those who are coaches, people who are actually qualified to respond to you and get back to you with an answer or help you work through it. Does that make sense? So don't sleep on those features in the LMS, because that'll save you a lot of time. I will tell you, don't spend a lot of time, like spinning your wheels if you run into a question or something and you're not sure about how to move forward.
I was going to say, when you do have a question that you do want to go to everyone, or you want to ask your two teammates, that's the purpose of the community of practice. And so there, what you share will go to everyone. So if you're stuck on something, you can't remember, what did we say about this, or how are we going to do that? And you want to talk to your teammates, that's a place to do that, your other cohort members.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions about that? Okay, welcome, Veronica. Okay, so this is just an overview of the point system that Donna was just talking to you about. So for your participation in today's event, you will get 25 points, right? And so again, these points are going to be cumulative across the course of this learning journey. And there's no ceiling for it. You earn as many points as you can, and whoever comes out on top with the most points, which will reflect the highest level of engagement, they're going to get $1,000 in cash. We'll send it Zelle, we'll send it Cash App, or however you want us, or we'll send you a check, however you want us to send it. But cash is king. All right. And we'll have this information we'll share, we'll put out there for you guys as well. So this is a quick look at the events that we have scheduled that will take place over the course of this cohort. You can see there's a number of optional events. Again, for optional events, you can earn points, but it's not mandatory, right? These are optional. And so the workshops that are listed, iteration workshops, these all align with the lessons that you're completing in the LMS, okay? So lesson 1, we will cover in practical exercises. The content that you covered in lesson 1, we will cover in iteration 1 workshop, okay? And so on. So each week, you need to complete your online course content before the actual workshop. Does that make sense? And that is so that you come to the workshop prepared for the activities that we are going to do. We are not going to be going through those slide decks and talking about what is there. We are actually going to be going in using Agile tools and actually applying the learning in practice. So remember what I said at the top of our conversation, we want you to get the practical experience of working in an Agile way, okay? And so that is what we are going to do, is spend time on actually applying what you learn and using the tools that we use in an Agile way so that it's easy for you to turn around and be able to replicate that behavior in what you do. Okay, does that make sense? And again, if you're in the LMS, you will see events for all of these different things. Okay, there may, I'm not sure, Donna, if we've added all of the optional events in yet. I know that all the workshops are in there. but they are also posted on our website under events, okay? And just keep in mind, if as many of them as you can make, you'll earn points for participating in them. Even if you are not local to the Houston area, everything that we do, because we're virtual first, will always have a virtual option to join, okay? So I would encourage you, if you are local, to attend, but if you can't, or it's from a scheduling perspective, it just doesn't work out, you will have the option of joining virtually. Okay. So again, we're just trying to like maximize the opportunity for you to really be successful and understand what it's like to work in this way, so that by the time you complete the course, then you have a pretty good idea of what you'd be walking into, and you can make an informed decision about whether or not you'd like to pursue the certification. Okay. For those who choose to pursue the certification, there will be a session that we will have specifically to talk about the exam and preparing for the exam, and talk about opportunities that you have post-certification, okay? In the fall, we will also be opening up some internships, because again, we want to create opportunities for you guys to get practical experience so that you can start building up that resume that will position you to be able to pursue one of these roles if you so choose to, okay? But just remember, it's all on you. It's up to you to choose what you want to do with it. We're making it available and accessible to you. I'm telling you, as somebody who works every day as an Agile coach, and I coach product owners, product managers, I coach Scrum Masters. Scrum Masters report to me, okay? So I understand the work that needs to be done. And I also understand, as a hiring manager, what I'm looking for when I'm building and hiring people onto my team. And so that's the opportunity that I want to be able to bring to you. And in doing so, one of the big goals that Built for Agility is actually going to deliver on is addressing the systemic issue in our communities around underemployment. Okay. And so I don't know if any of you are familiar with underemployment, but basically what we're speaking to is saying, you go to school, you get your education, you do all the things that you know that your parents tell you to do, and you come out of it and you're still working every day, but not really making enough money to really thrive, right? You're paying your bills and you're meeting, your living expenses, but you're really not earning the kind of money that you deserve to earn based on your education, based on your experience, and the contribution that you can make to an organization. And I'm here to tell you, if you didn't know, that this is a systemic issue in our community, okay? It contributes to a lot of the conditions that exist within communities of color. And this is the reason why Built for Agility as a nonprofit is focused on how we can position you to increase your earning potential, okay? So I guess at this point, I think we've pretty much covered everything that we wanted to cover. Now I just want to kind of open it up and see what questions you have about anything that we've shared, or even if it's something we didn't share, questions that you have about the program. So feel free to take yourself off mute. No questions? Were we that thorough that you have no questions at all?
I did ask, welcome everyone. Thank you. And apologies for my tardiness.
Hi, Kosha.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I did send a link, and Mrs. Shaw did answer it, but I'll just ask again. If unable to join you live video Zoom, would a call in suffice as it relates to at least trying to attain the verbal material?
So the sessions will be recorded.
Perfect.
The sessions will be recorded, so you'll be able to go back and listen to the sessions. What I would say is that the idea is that you're working in an Agile team. So what that means is, if you missed something and your team members were there, you need to connect with them, right? You need to connect with them and find out what you missed, and find out what they need you to do to contribute to whatever work the team has, right? Because
Okay.
in Agile, the teams own work collectively. It's not about an individual contributor, it's about working in a team. So if you have a conflict, all you got to do is reach out to one of your team members, let them know, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it, and make sure that you take the initiative to follow up and find out what you missed and how your team needs you to support whatever work they're taking on.
And
think
when
she-
will these teams be selected?
We will be selecting teams by the time we get to the September 7th session. We will have formed teams.
Okay.
I think,
Okay.
I want to make sure I think her question was if she maybe doesn't have video, could she use the Zoom option to dial in and still participate?
If she doesn't have video,
Yeah.
what you mean?
You know how Zoom has a dial-in option, or you can do.
Oh, yeah.
So that's,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh,
you
I'm
can-
sorry. I'm sorry,
yeah.
Kosha. Yes.
I just didn't want to stifle my team with my lack of availability, given the
Right.
dates. And I explained to you my situation. So
Right.
those dates will pose an imposition
Right.
time to time. But
Right.
in the event that I am able, I want to at least be able to dial in just to participate. But I hope
Yes, ma'am.
keep that in mind as it relates to assigning me to a team.
Yeah. So that should be fine. And again, I'm sure your team would understand the constraints that you may be operating in. So
Mhm.
Kosha may be out of country for part of the time. And so that would present, of course, things like Wi-Fi access and stuff can sometimes be a
Correct.
challenge. And so
Mhm.
that's what she's referring to. So it has nothing to do with her commitment to the team, but just constraints outside of her control. So absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And Nathan, go ahead.
Uh, so essentially, just to get a broader view of the course, are there any prerequisites or recommended experience levels for this program?
No, there's no prerequisites. We do have, like, even within the LMS, you'll find a video library that, for much of the content that we have there, you can actually, some of the videos are embedded in the content, but then in the video library, you can actually go and you can see, based on different topics and subjects, you can actually review the videos. Most of the videos are probably 5 minutes or less, right? And that'll kind of give you more context, but there's no prerequisite for this. This is a different kind of program, right? Like what we're in. So the two programs that we're offering in my experience as a coach are really kind of like points of entry, right? So anybody in any capacity can learn and understand what Agile is, and then begin to understand the practices of Agile and how to apply them. There's also another course that is not a certification course that is in the LMS, and it's called Agile 101. And what it does is just kind of break down really simply some of the fundamentals and the underpinnings of Agile, like the Agile Manifesto. So it gives you details around how Agile was started and what the initial intent was when the framework was designed, and the purpose that it serves, right? But all of this will be part of a journey. So just recognize that it's not about, one and done. It's about really going on a journey and understanding how to apply it in your world, in your space, right, to the work that you do. And then what we're doing in addition to that is just to show you that Agile is agnostic and can be applied in any situation, in any industry, in any discipline. We are actually going to be applying Agile to a social issue, okay? And that's going to be the problem that we're going to present for our teams to work on, right? So if you can apply it to a social issue impacting our community, you can apply it to anything, okay? And that's going to be part of making it sticky, so that it makes sense to you. And then later on, what you'll find out about is, beyond this training, we're also going to be launching a coaches academy, where if you want to become an Agile coach, right, similar to the work that I do, then we will support, coach, and mentor you through that process if you so choose to. And then again, we're going to have internships and other opportunities that'll be opening up in the future. But what we're really looking for is for you to apply yourself. Okay. So we are happy to invest in you, but the only requirements is that you have skin in the game and you invest in you. Right. And we'll certainly meet you halfway. So that's all pretty much that we had today. Any other questions that you have that we can answer? Okay.
Maybe a follow-up question. I don't know if anyone else had a question. So aside from the point system, how else will progress be assessed throughout the program rather, with regard to maybe assessments or exams, projects, or maybe peer reviews?
Yeah, so there are knowledge checks at the end of each lesson, right? So as you go through the course content, there will be a knowledge check. And again, remember, this content is being delivered iteratively, okay? Because that's what Agile does. It delivers iteratively in small increments of value so that you don't have to try and ingest so much information at one time. So there's a short knowledge check, only about 10 questions at the end of each lesson. That knowledge check correlates to the exam. So part of what we're trying to do is get you prepared and conditioned to be able to take that exam when it's all said and done. Okay. But we're just doing it in an iterative way. So we're being very intentional about how the content is being delivered, how we're engaging you to create practical experiences that will make this information sticky. Okay.
And those scores, they don't come to us. That's for you. So you'll know how you do, and you can retake that test if you need to retake that test however many times. But that's for your learning journey.
But if you actually if you don't skim through the content and actually pay attention to the content, the information comes directly out of the course material. Okay. It's there, but you just have to make sure that you're paying attention when you go through it. Right. And I will tell you this, it might be only 10 questions, but it's requiring 100% pass rate. And the reason that it's requiring 100% pass rate is because we had to build some rigor into the program, because again, it's not just about you saying that you did the program. We want to prepare you to pass the certification exam, right? And the certification exam is going to require 85% pass rate. Okay.
Dr. Marie, can you speak to like the day-to-day job application? Like, what does it look like for somebody who has a certification, regardless of the industry? Like, what are some of their day-to-day responsibilities in the jobs that feature Scrum Master certification or Agile?
So if you are a Scrum Master, a Scrum Master is a facilitator's role, right? And so what it means is that as a Scrum Master, you understand the principles and practices of Agile. You understand working in teams. You understand how we actually get things done by taking issues and we write them in a specific format called a user story, which is speaking from a customer's perspective. So everything that we do is around customer centricity, how we deliver the products and services that customers need from us, right? So from a business perspective. So in your role, Dorian, as a coach, right, it would have to do with how you actually support the athletes that are part of your program, right? Thinking about them as whole people and the things that they need to be successful and how you can support them in those things, right? But what it would mean is, as a Scrum Master, it might be taking things that you need them to get done and breaking it down into small manageable pieces. So there may be coming into a program, when you onboard new students into your program, there may be certain things that they need to learn about your program, right? And what you begin to do is put yourself in their shoes and think about, how do I need to break this down in a way that it is consumable for them, that they can digest it and understand what we're asking them to do, right? And take into consideration the experience that you create for them and what they need to get out of it. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. If they're like, let's say that somebody were to make a career pivot, so like let's take it and put it in potentially more of a traditional, because my
Tactical,
job
a
role is
tactical?
very, yeah.
Yeah.
What would that look like?
Yeah, and so what that would look like is typically working with engineering or development teams, right? Could be operational teams, but primarily for Scrum, it applies to software development environments, okay? And so what it has to do with is a software engineering team may be building a solution. And in building that solution, they can't boil the ocean. They can't create everything at the same time. So they have to be able to identify what the most important work is that they need to deliver in order to meet customer needs. It could be for an existing product, or it could be brand new development that they're creating something that doesn't exist. But
AI
even
is a
in
good
doing
example.
so, I'm sorry.
AI is a good example.
Yeah, AI is a great example, right? So when we think about Chat GPT and some of the services that we use today, right, it's being able to build solutions that in many cases, a software engineer is integrating into the back office, right? They're integrating them into a solution. So when they create a user experience, it's seamless. So a Scrum Master is going to be a facilitator and helping to manage that work really from like a kind of like a project management perspective, right? But what they're helping to do is they're focusing on how the team is working. Are they following Agile best practices? Are they taking the work and breaking it down into small manageable chunks that they can move towards predictable delivery? So when we talk about Agile teams and software development teams, we're really talking about predictable delivery, being able to determine how much work you actually have the capacity to get done, right? And do you have the people with the right skills to get that work done? And can we commit to that work? And so, because Agile teams are persistent, you go very quickly from like the storming, norming, performing to becoming a high performing team that really understands each other and how to work well together. And you just kind of like rock and roll like a well-oiled machine. That's the goal of a Scrum Master, is to get a team where they're working so well together that it's just like this. You know who's good at what, you know who's not. You figure out how to close gaps. You figure out how to do things like pair programming, where putting people together so they can learn from each other. And a agile Scrum Master really is now sometimes referred to as a team coach, because they're in the trenches with a development team, helping them understand these agile practices and how to apply it to their work so that they can go really, really fast, but also build in quality so that they're doing good work, right? And they're not doing a lot of throwaway work. So they're making sure they're doing things right and doing the right things. And that's the typical day of a Scrum Master. They're not a engineer or developer. They are somebody who is operating kind of in that team lead role, but guiding the team so that they can be maximize their productivity. Did that answer
Okay.
your question?
Yes, that was very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Nathan. You have another question?
Yes, so ideally, what guidance would you provide for applied agile principles in a non-software development environment? Because as you've said, not all of us do have a software development background, but we want to incorporate agile principles in our mindset and life.
Yeah, so I don't have a software development background. I spent the first 20 years of my career as a change practitioner. And then I became an agile coach, because when I was trying to introduce large scale change into organizations, the traditional waterfall methods that we use were not effective. And we would be more of checking the boxes on what people needed to do versus actually influencing things getting done. A Scrum Master is an influencer, right? And a leader in their capacity. So they're actually guiding their team. So there's no requirement for you to come out of a specific discipline. The requirement is for you to embrace the mindset around how we get things done. Have, very high intellectual intelligence, right, around how people work and how people get things done, right? So being people-centric. So you're not coming in with a big stick beating people over the head like traditional project managers that are saying, did you get everything done you were supposed to get done on time and on budget? No, you're coaching. You're actually operating as a coach where you're helping to unpack the issues, understand the impediments or the problems that people are running into. And as the scrum master or team coach, you're helping to remove those impediments so that the team can go fast. So you're actually a team level coach. Okay. The only difference is the work that they're doing. So Dorian is a professional coach. You already are inspiring people to get things done. All you're doing now as a scrum master is applying it in a different light. Right? You're influencing and coaching people to get things done and helping them to play well together, right? So navigating the kind of people issues that we run into with teams getting, trying to get things done, helping them to understand the priorities that they have, helping them to also be able to take big bodies of work and break it and chunk it down into small pieces, right? Because that's the key, splitting the work into small pieces so that you can make a solid commitment around what you can get done. And then looking at things like the team's actual capacity. So in Agile, we use capacity calculators to determine how much time does each individual on the team actually have to commit to doing the work. Because what we don't do is make promises and commitments to get work done without really understanding whether we have the capacity to get it done and whether we have the skills on our team to get it done, right? So those are things that the Scrum Master is looking at, is enabling the team. And we're gonna get more into detail about those things, because when we get into the actual course, the hands-on sessions, we're gonna learn how to write user stories. We're gonna learn how to take issues and break them down into small manageable chunks. We're gonna talk about how we navigate all of that and actually go into Jira, an Agile tool that we use, and show you how to actually go in and create those user stories, create the epics, and all of that. That's the hands-on work that we're gonna do.
That's clear, because we've actually answered one of the follow-up questions that I had, which was essentially what Agile project management tools we are going to be using. So Jira.
We're going to be using Jira. We're also going to use a collaboration tool that allows us to do things like value stream mapping and getting into how we actually decompose problems, because a big part of Agile is design thinking. So I don't know if you're familiar with design thinking, but design thinking principles are using creativity to actually take problems and decompose them so that you can gain knowledge and insight into those problems, right? So we're going to actually use these Agile tools as part of our hands-on course activities. So this is going from you looking at it in a slide deck online to now putting it into practice. And that's what we're going to spend the majority of our time doing. Make sense?
That's clear. So maybe the final question is, because as a leader, I guess, in Agile project management, what strategies would you recommend in dealing with resistance to adaptation of Agile processes within a team and an organization?
Education. Yeah. One thing that I say as a coach, I never ask anybody to do anything that I haven't prepared them for. You have to set people up for success, right? And so this is why, having a high EQ and understanding people, understanding human nature, understanding how to help people navigate difficult situations. Even for me, as many years of experience as I have on a coach, I still deal with that stuff every day. You deal with resistance because, so I work for an organization that is an incubator or a innovation hub, right? We have a lot of really, really smart people that come from different organizations, some with Agile experience, some without, but all of them coming with what they believe is the right way to get things done, right? And so what ends up happening is that people come with knowledge and experience, and based on whatever that knowledge and experience was, that's what they're going to bring to the table. So you're going to get this mixed bag. And some people are going to be able to say, you know what, Nathan, you're the Agile coach. I trust you. Okay, you said we need to do this. I'm going to do it. And you're going to have other people that are going to be like, I don't think that's right. Okay. And so you're going to have both, but you're going to have to be able to help them understand, explain not just what we do, but why we do it the way we do it. Understand the benefits of working in a differentiated way, right? And then one of the big values that comes out of Agile, because we do things iteratively and we break it down into small bite-sized pieces, what we see is progress, and we favor progress over perfection. Okay. And so what happens is over time, even though you might have only did a small slice of the work, with each iteration, you get more and more work done. And it's just like when we say go from a pebble to a boulder, a series of pebbles mounted up together, right, can equate to a boulder. Okay. And so what we're saying is over time, it becomes about progress and actually getting things done. And to me, that's the biggest selling point in Agile over anything I could ever tell you as a coach. I could tell you, but you may not take me at face value. But I can show you the progress that we can make. And in many cases, as a coach, I have to tell people, I know you don't see it right now, but I'm going to ask you to trust me and try it my way, give it a couple of iterations. And if it doesn't work, we're going to come back to the table and talk about what we need to do different. But part of our Agile process is rapid development, which means we're quickly building and testing to see if what we thought the outcome was going to be actually is. So we test our own hypotheses. Okay. And so you're getting that constant feedback. And what we say is we want to create a safe space for learning. A safe space for learning means we may not always get it right. We make, based on what we know today, we make the best decision we can. And when we test it, if it doesn't prove to be true, then we have a conversation and we shift or pivot. And that's just a normal part of Agile. It's not about being right or wrong, because in some cases, we don't know if it's right or wrong. It's a hypothesis that we're testing to figure out if what we were thinking can work. And so what we say is, if we fail fast and recover. Okay? And we move on. But as a team, collectively, we make a decision to do something different. And so a team wins together or loses together. So it's not about one person. No one person on the team makes the decision for a team. In Agile, we vote. And the entire team has to have confidence in whatever decisions that are made. So this becomes very much, so if you think about it as a Scrum Master, these are the kind of behaviors that you are infusing the team with. These are the kind of behaviors that you want to see people emulate. And so you're teaching them those behaviors by demonstrating those behaviors, right? And even being able to demonstrate empathy when you're working with people. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Okay. So I see Jonathan joined us late. Jonathan, welcome. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. We won't hold up the others on the call if they need to drop.
Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, I certainly hope that we were able to answer your questions. If you have any other questions, you know that you can hit us in the discussion. You can post a message to us or reach out directly. But we want you to know that we're here to support you on the journey. So
Yes,
it's not us introducing you to something and then pushing you over a cliff and say, go live your best life. Our program is a sustained program that is intended to not just introduce this training to you and coach you through the training. It's also to support you through a shift or pivot, career pivot, if that's what you choose. Okay. But it's
Yes,
up to
ma'am.
you to take advantage of the opportunity.
And
Okay.
when I got to meet you today, I saw the desire in you and something different in you. And I'm sorry that I joined so late. I had so much going on, but just I want to thank all of y'all for even doing everything y'all do.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. I'll hang back, Jonathan, to just kind of do a quick recap for you
Yes,
before
ma'am.
we let everybody else go. Dorian, Nathan, do you have any other questions that we can answer?
No,
You
thank you.
good? You ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay.
I gotta check my
Uh,
calendar for those Saturdays, but I think I'm ready to go.
Okay. But again, what I'm going to say, we know schedules are challenging for everybody. If you put skin in the game and make your best effort, show up as much as you can, I'm telling you, the hands-on workshops, you want to try to make as many of those as you can. The course content, you do it at your own pace, but just make sure you stay ahead of the workshops so that when we come into the workshops and we're covering stuff, you've already seen the content. Okay, so that's going to be the key to that. Hopefully you've already started that, but if you haven't, please go ahead and get going with that. Hey, Adrian, you were hidden from my view. I'm sorry. Were you
I'm
raising
sorry.
your hand?
No, I just raised my hand.
Okay, okay.
Thank you so much for explaining everything. This is totally new to me. I'm in healthcare, been there for 20 years,
Oh,
and
wow.
kind of ready to pivot myself. And so all the questions that everyone asks, your explanations been like amazing. Because I was
So,
feeling so lost because I've been reading
oh,
about this stuff and trying to familiarize myself. But it's been
but
great.
don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. So that's one of the things that I really, really want to emphasize for you guys. My goal is to help you understand agile ways of working in your context. So, Adrian, when you talk about being in healthcare for 20 years, let me tell you something. One of the biggest agile transformations I ever worked was Pfizer Pharmaceutical. Okay. I've worked in my 32-year career, I've worked across industries. So don't think because you're coming out of healthcare that this is not applicable or doesn't make sense for the work you do. What we want to be able to do is take all of the good work that you guys have done and help you see how to apply an agile lens over that so that now when you go out in the industry and you want to move into a role in this kind of discipline, you stand on top of all of that experience you have because you're a whole person. You can't wipe out your resume, 20 years of your resume, and say all of a sudden I'm an agile coach. No, what we want to do is we want to help you understand how to manage your brand in a way where you show that you're an agilist in a healthcare environment so that you benefit from all of that amazing experience that you have, right? And so part of our process is going to be getting to know you, understand your background, the work you've done, and for us to help show you how to assimilate that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So
Dr. Marie, can you hear me?
yes, I
Can
can.
I take 1 minute?
Sure.
Okay. So hi everyone. I'm Lance Watkins and I'm the Social Justice Director with Built for Agility. And I know Dr. Marie has been explaining that the Agile mindset can be actually applied to any occupation. So for example, I'm in law enforcement. So when I think about the Agile mindset, right, I think about my sergeants. They have an Agile mindset. So they get some policies that they have to make sure is implemented, but they have to shift and pivot and make sure that, hey, the things that we're looking for or the mission that we're looking for is it actually can happen. And if it cannot happen, they have to be able to see that, all right, we know we wanted to do 1, 2, 3, and 4, but number 2 is not going to get us there. So they have to be comfortable in that mindset. And then the lieutenants are more like the scrum master. They are the ones that will remove the impediments to get the sergeants what they need so that the patrol officers can do the job and be a good fit for the public. So agile mindset, scrum master, you can definitely apply it. And that's how I looked at it when I first started because I couldn't see it either. But then when I started attaching it to certain roles in the police department, I was like, this is how it fits. Because once you can make a connection, then it makes sense to you. So I just wanted to just throw that little piece in there to let you know that it doesn't have to be software development. You know, you can be in any occupation and apply Agile mindset and it will work. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I just saw a message, Nathan, come from you. Were you not able to get into the LMS? You're on mute.
Yes, because that's essentially because I wanted to access some of the learning material and I haven't been able to access it. So
Yes, you have. So did you go to did you access it from our website?
yes.
So if you go to Agile Training on our website and you scroll down, you'll see a link that says register now. And that link will take you to the LMS, or you can just go to learn.builtforagility.org, and that takes you straight to the LMS, and you'll be able to register and sign up for either one or both courses.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
Oh, sure. Is there anybody else on the call who has not been able to register for the course, for either of the courses? Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm still sharing my screen, so maybe I can stop sharing now because I don't want to miss anybody. And I know we had a couple of people on that I wasn't seeing. Anybody else that has questions? So there are more people on here. I know you guys have been kind of quiet. What questions can we answer for you around what's ahead? So I'm assuming everybody has gotten into the LMS and has registered for a course and has started working on their course content. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, very good. So the last thing that I will share with you, if you run into an issue, do not spin your wheels, okay? Please reach out to us. We are here to help you. No question is too small or too big, right? I want you guys to get the most out of this opportunity as you can, okay? Because I can tell you, if you're coming in with experience and you overlay that with Agile, the sky's the limit. But you've got to be the one to decide that that's a priority for you. But we're here to meet you. We're here to meet you halfway. Okay. All right. Well, I know we're already a few minutes over, so I will let you drop. If you need to, Jonathan, I know you, if there's anybody else that joined late that has any questions or whatever, I'll stay on for a few more moments. If not, you're free to drop. And thank you for your time today. Good to see all of you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for your time
Thank
as
you.
well.
Have a good night.
Because you're doing something, get back up.
Hi, Erica.
Hello.
Welcome. Glad to see you here. We're going to give one more minute and then we're going to get started.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the 7th.
Okay.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Yeah. So Jonathan, what we shared, we shared in